What's up, everyone? My name is Ethan Sheehan. Today I will be going over my game against Nico Chasin from the Charlotte Norm Super Swiss. I was playing white, and here's the game. So knight f3, knight f6, g3, d5. I wanted to go for something I don't normally play, so he couldn't try to prepare for me. And I think this did the trick. Did bishop g4 here, and I always find the system kind of annoying because it's hard for white to get an advantage, but I tried. h3, bishop h5. Here I played g4. Objectively, I don't know how good this is, but it does create practical problems because I'm going to get the two bishops plus a kingside space advantage. Now I did knight h4, bishop e4, and here it's very important not to take it, because if I take knight takes, knight f3, f5, and black challenges my kingside advantage and is likely better. But I played f3. So I played bishop g6, I took f4, bishop a4, bishop c3. I don't know how necessary this move was. My goal was to prevent queen b6 and bishop b4, but I'm probably fine if I just do moves such as e3, b4, and c5. But anyway, let's look at the game. c5, e3. Now, this is not a bad move in and of itself, but it does force him to find bishop b4, because otherwise I have an advantage in my opinion. In this position, bishop b4 is a good move because even though my bishop is technically bad, it's playing the important role of defending this pawn on d4. So after queen c2, I thought knight b8, regrouping the knight to c6 to attack this pawn would be a good idea. But of course he did not do that. Instead he played queen c7, which I think is a mistake, because now I can go c5 and I just box his bishop and knight in. As you can see, bishop b4 is no longer possible. Oh, yeah, and king h1 actually came in handy here, because if my king was on, say, g1, we'll just do something like this. He can play bishop takes c5, and I cannot take back because there's a fork. But anyway, let's take a look at the game. He played queen c6, and now this is the move the engine evaluates as a mistake, but I still think the practical mistake was earlier. He had to take on b3 and take on a1, and especially if you're playing against a low-rated player, this is not something you want to do, but when you're down material, you should be the one not down material, down space. You should be the one trading pieces. So, let's take a look at the game though. b4, knight c7, rook ac1. He played g5 here, which I just wasn't expecting that. The engine doesn't like it as a move, but I think it's a good practical try because it forces me to do something. And here I thought for a while, because he surprised me, I played f5. This is objectively not the best move. Knight f3 is actually stronger. He can take g6, h4, and white is plus 2.7 here. Hope y'all can see that. And I didn't do this because I just didn't think it was necessary, but if I'd looked at this a little further, I would have seen there's really no way for black to respond to the kingside advance. But I played f5, which still leaves me with an advantage. He played rook f8, which I don't like. I thought knight f6 was a better move because he can choose to take with the knight, and that doesn't leave him with a weak pawn on e6. But I'm still better after rook f5. But instead he played rook f8, and I would say my position is a lot better here. He has a weak pawn on e6. I have the two bishops, and I have more space on virtually every area of the board. The center, the king side, and the queen, and especially the queen side. So but with a lot of space, you have to solidify. So that's what I did in the next few moves. I played knight f3 here. I didn't do bishop f1 immediately because of e5. So he played knight b5, I played bishop a1, and I didn't really see the idea behind knight b5, so I played bishop a1 kind of quickly. But bishop b2 is a better practical try, because now his knight can't go to a3 and then to c4. But I played bishop a1. Knight a3, bishop f1, b5. Now I realized what he was trying to do. I knew I could have won a pawn here, but after rook c6, knight b c4, I felt like black had more activity than I need to give him. So I played bishop d3, and now he blundered with knight b8. If you want to find the winning sequence for white here, pause the video and think for a little bit. Alright, 3, 2, 1, I'll show y'all. Bishop g6, rook e7. You might think, what's the point of bishop g6? It was just a one-move threat. Well, not really. h4. And now we can see that the bishop is actually short on squares. If black takes, which is what he did in the game, I go g5, and suddenly the bishop is trapped. So I was just completely winning here. He played on a little bit, but the result is not in doubt now. Rook e2, e5, rook g1, king f8, rook f2. He resigned here. Who says you can't get a monstrous attack with queens off? And if he goes king g7, bishop e8, if he does something like a3, I just take on e5, winning the house, as they say. So, now that I've shown you all the game, I'll just give y'all some general lessons. First thing is, you don't always have to play the best objective move. Sometimes it's okay to go for practical tries like h3 and g4. Yeah, force your opponent to play accurately, because the less room, the more room for error, the less well they'll play. Bishop b4, f3. Yeah, also, be precise too. Don't let your opponent get a lot of space. If I had done this, I would have been in some trouble. Let's see, f3, bishop g6, knight takes. Alright. When you have less space, trade the pieces. It may not be fun if you're higher rated, but it's important not to lose. Oh. Hey, thanks, Gunnar. What do you mean how I see the game so differently? Tell Deepak I said hi. So, alright, queen c2, knight b8. This is what I thought the best continuation was. Oh, thank you, Gunnar. I try my best to educate. I see the game as the best what's the best practical try that works, because you're not always going to find the best engine move. So do get a position that you think you are able to play, rather than the position the engine says. And sometimes you have to find annoying moves like this. And in his defense, I would not have taken on b3. I probably would have tried something like knight b8 to get the knight to c6. So, another lesson. I always make sure your pieces are doing something useful. If the knight on d7 here is not doing anything, so if you are black in this position, find a way to reroute it. g5. Next lesson, when your opponent surprises you, take some time, because if the move they played could be really good, and you have to not mess up a good position just because you got shocked. So g5, f5. So g5, f5, rook f8. Yeah, next lesson. When you have more space, try to stabilize your position, because if your position is unstable, you are likely going to lose the pawns that give you the spatial advantage and soon the game. So don't play a move like bishop f1, because that allows him to play a pawn break. So bishop b3. Next lesson, always look for tactics here. This is not inherently a tactical position, but there is the concern that the bishop and rook are short on squares. So here, a move like knight c4 is perfectly reasonable. It gets the knight to a slightly better square and does not allow bishop g6. Bishop b3, rook f7. So, but with knight b8, he does not have the resource knight f8. So always look for tactics. And I think that's all. I'll probably post game 4 later today. And anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye. Oh, yeah, g6 got weak when I played the pawn break f5. And here, knight f6 is actually a better move. Ah, sorry, I accidentally muted myself. So the pawn, yeah, the g6 got super weak right here, because if he tries to take with the queen and the knight, he just loses the pawn. So he had to choose the lesser of two evils. So bishop f6, knight f3, knight b5, bishop a1, and yep, that's the game. I'll see you all in the next video, and hope you enjoy. Bye.